Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. This is our trade deadline special. And coming up on this one, we're just going to look at the trade deadline. It's all over. How did the Leafs do? What did they do? What do we think about the moves Treliving did or didn't do? All this and more coming up on the trade deadline special of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Epic fail. Let's hit the intro.
Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget, you can follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Tip In Podcast on TikTok, Tip In Pod on Twitter. And somebody caught that. We were on the wrong side to start the podcast, but I fixed that. I fixed that really quick.
Yeah. I didn't want to do, so we'll just do like a special trade deadline special episode here.
Yep.
And save our 200th episode for the next episode. Okay. Sound good? So just trade deadline special here, Chad. Take it, please.
All right. Well, the Leafs did one deal today. That's it.
After 3 p.m.
After 3 p.m. They got a depth centerman, Connor Dewar from Minnesota, in exchange for a 2026 fourth-round pick.
Woo!
That was it. We already talked about the other trades. They got Joel Edmondson, and God, that's a tough name to say. But I was saying Edmonton.
I know.
And of course, they got the boost.
Yeah.
So that's kind of everything right there.
Yeah, that's it. They did not do anything else. Okay, for me, look, this was all about positioning yourself to be able to beat the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers, because guess what, folks? The Eastern Conference runs through the Florida Panthers. Maybe Carolina, maybe Boston, but for sure Florida. 100%, no doubt in my mind. So did they do enough to position themselves to be in a better spot to beat Boston and Florida? No, they didn't. Did they do enough to be able to beat those teams? I don't think so. I don't personally think so. Like you've been saying for the last several podcasts, I'm not saying that they necessarily won't beat Boston or Florida. I don't think they can, but they might. We'll have to see who shows up and who doesn't. But like you've been saying, this team is going to go with like, hey, boys, look around. The four of you guys, Mitch, Austin, JT, Willie, you going to take us there or are you not? Because that's what it is this year. Like, there's no Ryan O'Reilly. There's no Achari. There's no Luke Shen. It's like, you guys going to take us to the dance, or are you just going to take off your dancing shoes and fucking hit the golf course? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
That they didn't do much?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm absolutely okay with it. I am absolutely okay with these guys being in their prime for someone to finally say, hey, you know what? Just like you said, take us there.
Yeah, look.
You guys want, they get paid like the best players in the league. So it's time to be the best players in the league in the playoffs.
I totally agree. So this Dewar guy this Connor Dewar guy they brought in, he's a fourth line guy. Is he even going to play? Maybe not. Penalties.
It's depth. It's depth.
Yeah, depth. Like, 5'10", but apparently he plays like, not afraid to hit, not afraid to fight, whatever. Is he going to be in the lineup? Who knows? But yeah, depth piece.
But he's not going to make a difference.
No, he's not. No, of course not. There's no difference maker here. There's no difference maker.
That's what I'm saying.
No, there's not. The difference makers have been here for 7 years and haven't fucking done shit. So those are the difference makers. So like either you're going to do it, boys, or you're not. So we'll see. Yeah. But
Dewar might get into the lineup. They're going to test him out in the last 20 games.
Of course.
We'll see. When it comes down to it, you're not going to win a playoff series because you brought that guy in.
God, no chance. You imagine they did, though.
He just went off 14 points in 7 games.
Game winner, like they're killing a penalty, he gets a shorthanded break or something. Like, you imagine this kid, like he was the guy that, like, you never know. You never know, right? But anyway, no, it doesn't look like there's any difference makers there. But okay, Lyubushkin and Edmondson. God, man, we got to come up with a nickname for. We got to find out that cat's nickname, Toronto. But we can't call him Eddie because we already do a bunch of Eddie on the show. So anyway,
we'll think of one.
Edmondson and Lyubushkin. Does that help? Like, does the D core look better? Yes. And I want to ask you about the D pairs a bit more after we talk about the deadline, like what you think, how you would structure it potentially going into the playoffs if everybody's healthy. What's his name got claimed off waivers too?
Legerson, yeah.
Emilio Estevez and the Anaheim Ducks they took one look at this guy's hair and they said, I think this guy can help out with a little flying V action. And Emilio Estevez claimed him off of waivers this afternoon. No surprise. Every time they'll leave. Oh, no, actually, they had a couple good breaks earlier this year with Jones didn't get claimed and they put someone else on waivers and he didn't get claimed. I can't remember who. Anyway, Legerson, though, no, with hair like that, you're getting claimed.
It would have been nice to keep Legerson, but really, they
still have depth guys, but we'll get into that.
Like Gio's still there, Connor Timmins is still there. They still got a lot of depth at D.
Who's that last guy you mentioned? I didn't know. I don't even consider him part of the fucking team.
Well, he's there.
No, I know. Anyway, look, man, here's what I'm going to say here. So for me, it's if we're just talking about, I don't have a problem with just going with the guys and seeing if the core can get it done. And I don't have any problem with that. Okay. But going with just looking at the deadline and what Treliving did here and just grading it, it's a fail for me. It's an epic fucking fail. If we're just taking into account what he did here, it's a fail. But what's part B to that? Do you think? What do you think? Is it a fail or just look at the deadline?
If you're just grading on how well he did today on the deadline, that would be a fail. He didn't do anything.
No, he didn't do anything. So big time. Well, the whole the three moves.
Okay, the three moves. I wouldn't say it's a fail.
Okay.
I mean, he did a little patchwork on the D. He got a little tougher, add a little more snap, as he likes to say. But there was no home run like there was last year leading into the trade deadline. But like I said, I'm okay with it. I've been saying it on the podcast the last few episodes. I'm okay with them telling the big boys it's your turn.
I'm fine.
No one's coming to help.
No one's coming to help you. No one's coming to save you this year. But look, giving up a third and a sixth for Lyubushkin, giving up a third and a fifth for Edmondson, and then they give up a fourth for Dewar. Now, I'm looking at some of the other Vegas. I don't even want to get into Vegas. It's just crazy, man. They just pull off any deal they want. It doesn't matter. Throw them on LTIR. Who cares? Just we'll worry about it later.
$700 million and under the cap.
It's just crazy.
Over the cap.
Every year they're just crazy. Whatever. Adam Hannafin, Hurdle, these guys are making $6 million. They're there's $12 million. They just added the deadline. Come on in, guys. Fuck, don't worry about it.
Did you see Luongo's tweet? And he's Vegas. He's Vegas day one of the playoffs. I forget what the picture was. So was it
the wheelchair? The
wheelchair.
Yeah.
Guy just coming to life,
faking a broken leg, and then he's good to go.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna throw out three names here. Okay, so he ends up dealing Lyubushkin, or he gets Lyubushkin, Edmondson, and Dewar. Okay, so those are the two blue liners and a depth forward. The two guys on the back end are going to play 100%. But you look at here's three guys that I would have liked to have seen come in, and obviously the ship has sailed here. But you look at the prices. Tanev went to Dallas for a second, a third, and a prospect. If Treliving was willing to give a prospect and a first, they could have got Tanev. Okay, so whatever, just keep that in mind. Toffoli, he goes for a second and a third, half his salary retained by the Devils. A second and a third for Toffoli, Tanev, a second, a third, and a prospect. And then Patty Maroon goes to the Bruins for a 6th round pick. So let's just keep that in mind. Those are more pieces, and the Leafs didn't have some 2nd round picks and all that, but they did have their first, and they had some prospects that they didn't part with, whatever. So I believe if Treliving wanted to, he could have got Tanev. He could have got Toffoli, and he could have got Maroon. Would you not rather have those three boys in here than the three boys that he brought in? Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, I don't. First of all, I don't think they have. I don't think they have a 2nd round pick.
No, but you could. They have their first, and they have
their first. I don't think Calgary was going to do a deal with Treliving in.
I bet you if he threw his first in, they would have.
Maybe not. We don't know, but I know what you're saying. When you look at all the trades, you're thinking, well, why weren't they in on that? But you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. So it's really tough to to grade on that. The thing that baffles me is not that he didn't go out and get whoever. Like I think Patty Maroon, I think he's kind of past his prime.
But he's a dude that he'll do something in the playoffs. He will do something in the playoffs.
Maybe. I don't know.
The guy only goes to the cup final every year.
Why give up? Like, I get why you did the cap retention. Like, you gave up extra picks so that everyone would hold back money. But my feeling was you were doing that because you were going to add more.
That's what I thought.
But you didn't. So, yeah, you saved the cap space that you didn't use, and you lost those picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't really make sense. You probably could have just kept the salary and not gave up those picks.
No, and Treliving came out and he spoke. Like, he didn't say what he was in on and what he wasn't in on.
They never
whatever.
do.
No, I'm sure he was in on Toffoli and whatever. Like, for me, I don't understand. Getting a guy like Dewar for a 4th-round pick when you potentially could have got Maroon for a 6th-round pick. Like, I'm sorry.
Okay,
but,
yeah, that makes sense.
like, which one of those guys would you rather have on your team in the playoffs against Boston or Florida? It's a no-brainer for me. I'm sorry. It's an absolute no-brainer. Like, Maroon and Reeves, like, you're going to need fucking bangers if you want to beat Florida and Boston, Chad. Like, that's just what it is. So Dewar, like, I'm sorry. It doesn't help. It just, maybe he is good on the penalty kill. We'll see. But Maroon would have been a better pickup. Toffoli, if you wanted to really add something up front, you make a fucking deal for Toffoli. A 2nd and a 3rd-round pick. You couldn't.
Well, you would have to give your first.
Okay, maybe you do.
Or a 2nd down the road, but that's if they want that pick.
It's just, to me, like, there's a guy that, like, you know, he was great in LA and, like, I don't know, Toffoli and
I get it. I get it, but at the same time, like I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, okay, you go out, you get Toffoli, you get Maroon. Is it really going to make a difference? Like, when are we ever gonna be like, you know what? Doesn't matter who's on the edges. It's time for Austin Matthews to win the series. It's time for Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner to win a playoff series for this team. I don't care totally how many bangers and bruisers you have on the back end and how many people are kicking the shit out of Boston's 3rd and 4th line or whatever.
I agree. No, I hear you.
It's time for Mitch and Matthews to win a playoff series.
I agree. So, like, I just wanted to use the comparison, like a 3rd and a 6th for Lyubushkin, a 3rd and a 5th for Edmondson, a 4th for Dewar, and like, just
I know they could have
for Tanev.
You're saying they could have got more.
Well, it wasn't. It just didn't seem like Tanev, Toffoli, and Maroon. It's like, if the Leafs would have put a little bit more into it, they could have got any of those guys. So
maybe
that's maybe. I don't see why not. So to me, it doesn't make sense why, like, you probably could have got a bit better of an upgrade if you were willing to pay a little bit more. That's all I was saying there. We can move on. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. The Jets get to Foley, Tanev goes to Dallas, and Maroon, of course, the Boston Bruins. Like, just you watch. And
Dumba went for a 5th.
Tampa Bay for sure, but no salary retained there. So Tampa's taking the full salary. He makes a lot of money, I think.
I know, but I mean, again, like, the Leafs gave up picks to retain salary that they didn't use.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, no, you're right. He might have a couple years left too, though. Dumba, I think it's like,
oh, okay.
Everybody the Leafs brought in are like either UFA or RFA, so there's no, like,
that's good.
They can just move on or sign them cheap, whatever. But yeah. Anyway, Maroon, you watch. If it ends up, you just fucking watch. I'm calling it right now. If it ends up being Boston,
Maroon a lot in the playoffs. He's not fun to play against.
He'll be in front of he'll be right in the crease, parked there, and he'll bang a big goal in. You just fucking watch. Just fucking watch. It's gonna happen. 100%. It's gonna happen. So
I know. I was driving and they were like, "Oh, we got a breaking trade." Listen to the radio, and they're like, "Pat Maroon's been traded to," and then there was a pause, and they're like, "Boston." I was like, "Oh, fuck."
I know, right? Okay. Anyway, but you're right. I am on board with you 100% about, hey, put on the big boy pants, Mitchie and Austin, and let's go. Willie, too. And JT, you too.
Okay. And I've been saying this last few podcasts, and a lot of people have been saying, like, you'll never win with these guys. You'll never win. I like that they don't have an excuse this year. I like that at the end of the year, you can't be like, oh, we needed this, we needed that. It's like, no, it's you.
But they'll find one anyway.
Yeah, they'll find one. Shanny will be like, look, we got to bring the gang back if they get bounced in the first round.
Yeah,
it's like,
they'll find an excuse. These guys always do. Like, Mitch is fucking full of excuses. But, like, look, you watch.
But don't you think it's time for them? It's time.
Oh, it's absolutely. It's overtime, Preppy. Preppy, you've been working
Oh my God.
Overtime. Big time. Preppy.
I'm so
Later and-
excited.
I just can't fight it. Look, let me just say this. You mentioned last podcast about the comment Tavares made on Monday night after the Bruins lost about what the fuck was he talking about? Lessons.
Yeah, he said playing a team like Boston is a good lesson for us.
I started thinking about that after we did the last podcast last night, and I'm like, he made that comment on Monday after the loss, and then they came out on Thursday and did the same fucking thing again. So what? Like, where's the? And he didn't play that. He didn't look that great,
dude. Like when they lost. Go back how many years? Go back to before they lost to the Canadiens when they lost to the Bruins. They said they were learning lessons then. And they blew a 3-1 lead to the Canadiens, but they learned a valuable lesson. Then they lost again, and they learned a valuable lesson. And they're always learning lessons.
Oh, fucking right there.
You know?
Nothing but lessons. I don't know I don't know who's teaching these lessons because like I don't see it. But
they're Matthew McConaughey. They're 27 years old, still hanging around high school, getting in, like still doing the lessons, baby.
All right, man.
I love those high school girls.
Love them redheads, man. Don't you worry. Bummer about your party, man, but not to worry. New party in the works right now. That's up at the Moon Tower. That's all right. Everybody's going to be there. Full kegs. All right.
Why don't you lose the zeros and get in with me? But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, man. Classic.
You know who I love in that movie?
Aerosmith, 2 weeks. Oh, O'Banion. O'Banion is his character.
I love him.
He's so just all about busting ass. He just wants to y'all didn't hear I got a shotgun pulled on my ass this afternoon. he's awesome in that movie, man. Affleck. Oh yeah. McConaughey's first movie. Can you believe that? Like, just can you believe that? Crazy.
And he nailed it out of the park.
Absolute natural. Anyway, getting a little sidetracked here, but let me just say this though. One thing I will say about Treliving, to give a little bit of credit here, even though I still think it was an epic fail at the deadline, I think he could have gave a little more and got a little more, whatever. But he didn't give up any prospects, Chad, or any roster players. Not Fraser Mint and Easton Cowan. By the way, Easton Cowan is now.
Did any of the other teams?
There were mainly picks.
It was mainly picks.
Mainly picks. You're right. So
Pitt and Carolina traded players.
Yeah. There was a few.
A couple roster players, but other than that, it's the trade deadlines just turned into trading players for picks. Yeah,
for sure. But so I'll just give a little credit, just to give him a little bit of credit. No trade, didn't trade anybody off the roster, didn't trade any prospects, including Robertson, Fraser Minton, Easton Cowan, who now is on a 30-game heater with the London Knights. 30. Last time we talked, it was a 26-game point streak. Now a 30-game. Yeah, like I wouldn't have included.
Well, that would just be if you give up Easton Cowan or Fraser Minton for a rental player, you're a moron.
Yeah, no
absolute
way,
moron. So he wasn't going to do that.
No, Easton Cowan looks like he's going to be an absolute fucking stud. So
yeah.
Anyway, I got a couple things here, and then we won't keep it too long. D pairs. So now with Lyubushkin and Edmondson here, what do you think? How do you think it shakes down with like who the top six potentially you'd like to see, and the pairs and the guys that will be on the outside looking in? Got any thoughts?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean,
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think, like with Benoit, I was thinking about this. Benoit and Edmondson being very similar. Like, do you keep both of them in there, or is Benoit going to find his way out of the lineup?
I don't think Benoit's been the worst defenseman.
I don't think so either. I think Liljegren's going to come out.
It's got to be.
Yeah,
got to be. Even though he's a right-hand shot, that's the only thing that might keep him in. Maybe.
That's the only reason he's been playing most of the season. I mean, at times he looks so good, and then he just can look god awful. No,
he's not. Like, to me, it's probably Riley Lyubushkin. It's probably Benoit and McCabe, and maybe Brody and Edmondson, and see how that looks. And then you got Giordano and Liljegren as your two depth guys. I think that's probably how I'd look at it to start anyway, and see how that goes. Obviously, you can shuffle it around. Like Benoit played with Brody the other night, didn't like it. So, like, if I'm keeping Benoit in the lineup, it's with McCabe.
Benoit's looked good, but I think he's kind of tailed off a little bit.
For sure. But he has played the last little bit without McCabe. He's obviously looked the best when he played with McCabe. I don't know why Keith is switching that up, but he has been the last few games anyway. So yeah, if I'm playing Benoit, it's McCabe. But maybe, does Giordano find his way in and he plays with Brody? I've only been asking for that for the last 2 years. Play them, their old D pair together as your bottom pair, Brody and Giordano as your 5-6. And then you can play McCabe with Edmondson or whatever. Like there's some, we'll see. Like it should be interesting. There's some stuff to play around with there, but Liljegren's coming out for me 100%.
And I really want to see what Edmondson brings, like where they use him, and then you'll get a good idea if he'd be more top 4 or if he's going to be more third pairing guy. Yeah,
should be interesting. I'm excited to see him play tomorrow night in Montreal, and hopefully he starts. I'm hoping this guy is not like I'm not that familiar with him. I know the name. I know he's got pedigree and history of winning and all that, but like I'm hoping he's not like a fucking. I'm trying to think. Remember Cody Franson and I hope he's not like that. Like
Edmondson,
like Hal Gill. Like
no,
guys,
no.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember when
guys,
he cross-checked Wayne Simmons in the face in the Montreal series?
At who? Edmondson?
Edmondson.
When he played for who?
Montreal.
Or when he played for oh fuck. Okay, yeah, sorry. When Montreal was playing the Leafs.
Yeah. He's kind of a dirty bruising type of player.
Okay, that's awesome. That's what I want. That's what I hope. Like that's what I meant. Like by comparing to Cody Franson or like Hal Gill, like these big guys that kind of played a more like friendly game. They were Cody Franson afraid to throw a fucking body check. But anyway,
and he didn't get suspended for it either. It was like a dirty cross check to the face. But anyway,
now
he clears the front of the net.
Yeah,
he's not afraid. He's
stick,
not going to get
stick.
Got a huge stick. Huge stick, good. And he whips it everywhere. That gets him into trouble sometimes because he just whips it out all the time.
I'm glad to hear that. I like that. That's what I wanted to hear.
But if you are playing Boston, he's a good guy to have against people like Marchand and stuff. He's really good to have on the ice, but you're not going to get any points out of him, and he can't move the puck very well.
Okay, well that's all right. That's not. They don't. Yeah, that's okay. They got a few guys back there that can do that. Just. I like the sounds of that.
He's big. He's guy, huge. He's a monster.
Big stick. All good things. All good things.
All right.
Last thing I'll say before, if you want to throw up comments or you can take it from here, but I want to ask you a couple questions on the way out. Okay. Cup contenders this season, past Cup winners and current Cup contenders, teams that I believe are Cup contenders. Okay. Just going to throw this out there. Kind of leads into like what you were having talking with the core guys needing to lead the way here and all that. Okay. So Cup contenders of the past and Cup winners of the past, Cup contenders right now. Would one of their top guys on a Cup contender be afraid to throw either a huge hit or get in a fight with one of the other team's best players if the game or the situation in the game called for it? Okay. I'm going to throw some teams at you and their top stars. You let me know if they
would their top stars fight,
or just a big hit or a big fight at a big time that needed it. Like, so
I know what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah. Best teams in the NHL over the last 15 years, in my opinion. I don't think it's even up for grabs. The 3 best teams over the last 15 years have been the Pittsburgh Penguins, the LA Kings, and the Chicago Blackhawks. Look at the Stanley Cups. Nothing else needs to really be said. Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby. Would he? Yes or no?
Yeah, he'll get in there. He's not.
I've seen him do it before. LA Kings, Doughty.
Oh,
yes or no? 100%. Several guys. Chicago, Taves. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Let's bring it.
Taves was a warrior, man.
100%. Let's bring it to more modern day. Colorado Avalanche, McKinnon.
Oh yeah.
100%. No, wouldn't think twice, right?
You go through a wall.
Vegas Golden Knights, Mark Stone, their captain.
He did it last year.
100%, right? Florida Panthers, Tkachuk.
My God, yeah, he's an animal.
He would probably die on the ice if it meant to win the Stanley Cup. So 100%, right? Boston, hate to include them, but it's true. Marchand, I hate the guy, but would he do it?
Yeah.
100%, right? Now let's move to, only got a couple left. Edmonton, Draisaitl, McDavid. Would they do it?
Yeah.
Thanks, both of them?
Yeah. I think that, they're pretty feisty players.
I think so too. If the moment called for it, if the game called for it, the situation, I think so. Last one, Tavares, Matthews.
No.
Neither one, right? Tavares, 100%. No,
yeah, you're right.
no,
Yeah,
it's a no.
They won't.
It doesn't matter how big the game. It could be Game 7 of the Cup final, and you're tied at 1-1 in the third, and somebody lays somebody out, and you need to fucking remember like a Ginla and Lecavalier in the Cup final, like in 2006 or whatever. The two best players on each team just fucking pounding the shit out of each other because they both wanted to fucking win. It meant that much to them. They're like, if this is what I got to do, this is what I got to do. So everybody I just named there, the upper elite over the past 15 years and current contenders today, what's the one of these things doesn't belong?
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that in there because to me, it's 100% true. The Toronto Maple Leafs, their top guys, Matthews,
it's
Tavares,
not the way they play.
Like I didn't even include Marner and Nylander because that would just be insane. Like, take those guys out of the equation. The captain of the team, number 91 and number 34, would they ever consider a big hit? Maybe at best. Defending their team with a fight, like a real fucking for real, drop them and let's go. Not a fucking chance. Yeah. Sorry. And what do all those other teams have in common? All their top guys would do it. They're not looking for it per se, but if McKinnon needed to do it because they needed to win Game 6 to win the Cup final, guess what? He's fucking doing it. Little heated after this trade deadline chat. Sorry. Just
that's okay.
Sorry. Anyway, I'm out on that. You take it wherever you want.
We should just go back and talk about Dazed and Confused. I will say this. I'll just say this, and I agree with you. They've never done it. They haven't shown it. That doesn't mean it's not in them. That doesn't mean that they don't want to win with all their heart. They just haven't done
not all their heart.
They just haven't done that. But maybe
then you're not leaving it all out there. You're not leaving it all out there.
Maybe we'll give them this season because we got nobody else. Let's see what they do in the playoffs this year.
But here I agree with you.
Maybe you can beat Boston. Maybe you can beat Florida. Maybe. Like, what would you say? What would the Vegas odds be? The Vegas odds would be pretty close.
For what?
For if they were playing Boston right now, like Boston would be favored, but not by much.
Not by much.
Not like the Leafs would be a heavy underdog.
No, they would be against the Panthers.
But
they would be against the Panthers.
Anyway.
I think heavy underdog. But that's what I'm saying though. Every dude I just named there, none of them would have to think twice about taking the physical aspect and bringing it up a fucking level, except for the two fucking dudes that lead the way on the blue and white team. Tavares and Matthews, forget about it. Not even in their fucking DNA. They'll just be standing there looking around like, you do it.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. Anyway, whatever. You want to do some comments and we'll bounce or what?
Yeah, we'll do some comments and then we'll take out of here. Thanks for putting us in a great mood. Here we go.
sorry, guys, but come on.
We'll start with this one. The Canadian white trash guy, and his pick is a bird eating a frog.
Nice.
It says the team just plays everybody out of position, so they all look bad. And I like this comment because
I don't know, man.
I like this comment because sometimes I think that. Sometimes I was listening to Wayne Simmons being interviewed, and he talked about like Keefe having short leash on players. And basically, like, they're really good players. He was talking about Liljegren could be really good, but he's always looking over his shoulder, like afraid that he's going to get pulled. He's always getting moved to a different partner, things like that.
I suppose.
But at the same time, it's the NHL. So find a way.
Yep.
Here we go. John Williams says, all the Leafs do is run it back every year and expect different results. Early exit this year. What do you think about that?
I think it's very likely. Well, yeah, of course. They do run it back every year. And what's the same result? It is the same result every year. So why would it be different this year? Did they pull the big boy pants up, or do they still just play the same fucking way and run and duck and hide in the playoffs?
Yep. Spike says, that's why you don't invest in this soft core, Dale.
Yeah, well, fair. But they're so invested in the core. So what are you doing then? Like, they keep re-signing the guys. So that's what they are. Like, they're invested. They are invested heavily into this fucking core. So.
And not just like re-signing them at top dollar for long-term contracts.
Yeah, big time.
Like, you were invested in this team for a long time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Tyson says Maroon scores game 7 OT winner. I'm calling it.
What I said.
That's what we're saying.
Wouldn't doubt it. Could have had him
anyway,
for a 6th round pick. That's just too steep for Patty Maroon. He only goes to the Cup final every fucking year.
a lot of comments, talking about disappointing deadline.
Yeah.
Leafs are too soft.
Yep.
We won't really know until the playoffs start, and you're hopeful that maybe they can turn it around. The 2 games against Boston this week were not a good sign.
Absolute disaster.
And that's it. But we'll see tomorrow night against
disaster.
Against the Montreal Canadiens. There's a party at the Moon Tower after, so be there for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we will
see if we can get this thing cooking again tomorrow night in La Belle Province against the Montreal Canadiens. Let's keep it going. Tony, shout out to our old buddy Tony out there in Montreal. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Please like this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really means a lot to us. Really helps us out. Let's go into Montreal, get a big win on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. We'll catch you guys later.
Catch you later.